Welcome to Principles of Public Relations, MMJ-328. I'm Dr. John Mark Dempsey, and I'm looking forward to working with you this semester. We're about to get into the first outline, first subject matter that we'll be covering, but first I'll just say to you, be sure to read the syllabus. That will be on MyLeo2DL. Also, there'll be some additional information there that will be useful to you. Check your email from time to time from me, and I will put information on MyLeo2DL, but get into the habit of checking your MyLeo University email. And I will try to keep these video lectures to about 10 minutes each, and the outlines will also be available to you. So here we go. What is public relations? Part 1. Now, this outline is based on a particular textbook, Public Relations Strategies and Tactics. The authors are Wilcox and Cameron. You could have either the 10th or the 11th edition. I do recommend that you have the textbook. I think it will be helpful to you. I think it'd be a great reference to you. But we will have these outlines and video lectures. So, a definition of public relations. And let's start first of all with just put the two words together. Public, ordinary people in general, the community, and relations, the way in which two or more people or groups feel about and behave toward each other. So if we define each word separately, that's what we get. The Public Relations Society of America, the PRSA, says public relations is a strategic communications process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. So we see that we are about relating to members of the public. We are representing an organization to the public, and we are trying to tell the story of that organization to the public and help the public to understand the organization that we're representing. The British Institute of Public Relations says public relations is influencing behavior to achieve objectives through the effective management of relationships and communications. So again, we see that term relationships. But in the British definition, you see that idea of influencing behavior, which is also an important aspect of public relations. There is a video link there. I'm not going to go to each one of these, but I do want you to look at those video links. I will ask you some questions on tests that will be related to the video links. If there's one that's particularly long, I probably will tell you just watch certain minutes of it, but I do want you to look at those videos, and sometimes it's a link to an article. As it says there in the note, test will include questions on the videos contained in the outlines. About 3 million people worldwide are public relations practitioners, including 300,000 in the U.S., so this is a job, this is an occupation that employs many people. Other popular names for public relations include corporate communications, public affairs, public information, so it's not always referred to as public relations. There are some stereotypes and less flattering terms. Every organization, every profession has its detractors, I would say, but public relations is sometimes seen as a glamorous profession, well beyond the reality that is true of public relations. Some people consider public relations a synonym for propaganda, and that can be an aspect of public relations. It's not necessarily the best aspect of it. Journalists sometimes use terms such as a PR gimmick or spin, which would be attempting to interpret an event or issue according to a particular viewpoint. We're going to talk about some of the different aspects of public relations, how PR can be used for the good and how PR can be used perhaps not for the good as we go along. All professions do have detractors, and all professions have professional and unprofessional practitioners, and we should always keep that in mind. Public relations is a process. There's the acronym RACE, which stands for research. What is the problem or the situation? Action, or program planning. What is to be done about it? Communication, or the execution of the plan. How will the public be told? How will we communicate with the public? And evaluation, was the audience reached, and what was the effect? Research, action, communication, evaluation. And then there's another model. And step 1, research and analysis. What is the problem or opportunity? So we need to know what we're dealing with and not just go off the surface of what seems to be so. Step 2, policy formulation and what actions should be taken based on our research and analysis. And then programming or planning a program. Communication is executing. The program, for the most part, we are about communication, so executing the program is communicating. Step 5, feedback. We watch to see what the effect of our program and our communication has been. And then assessment, we decide, was this a success or a failure? And then we apply what we learned to the next project. PR versus journalism. Of course, there's a close relationship there. Writing is a common activity for both public relations professionals and journalists, and they have a number of other things in common, but there are also fundamental differences between public relations and journalism. In the scope, public relations is wider in scope. PR also involves strategic thinking, problem solving, and other management skills. So in some ways, public relations is a little more complicated than journalism. Objectives. Journalism provides the public with news and information. PR personnel are advocates. They seek to change people's attitudes and behaviors to further the goals and objectives of an organization. But to be effective, PR messages must be based on fact. Audiences. Journalists primarily write for a mass audience. PR practitioners target groups of people with specific demographic and psychological characteristics. So in public relations, we tend to be targeting a particular group more so. Channels. Most journalists work through one particular channel. They work for a newspaper or a television station, and that is where their work is seen or heard or broadcast. PR professionals use a wide variety of media to reach the targeted audiences. You may be using newspapers, magazines, television, radio, social media, a lot of different sorts of channels as a PR practitioner. Again, you see a link there, a video going more into detail on PR versus journalism. Public relations versus advertising, again, a close relationship there. Publicity is the result of a public relations effort. Publicity is information about an event, an individual, a group, or product appearing as a news item in the mass media or online. But that appearing as a news item is an important phrase there for publicity. Advertising is paid for. Paid for space, if we're talking about a print publication or perhaps social media, or time. If we're talking about broadcast, and time could also be a factor of social media. Advertising is renting space in a mass media outlet. So advertising is paid for. Publicity is not paid for. They can support each other, and very often they do. They are part of an overall plan that the same organization may implement. The major disadvantage of advertising is the cost. Full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal at the time of the textbook's publication was $164,000. A 30-second ad on the Super Bowl telecast each year cost about $4 million. So advertising is expensive. Publicity has greater credibility because the message appears as news, which is understood by the public as objective. And this is called third-party credibility, and we'll be talking more about this. But publicity very often has more credibility because it is seen as objective news. A poll found that online news articles about a product were more persuasive than pop-up ads. So again, if we see something in the news, we give it more credibility because we think it's probably objective, should be objective. Not going to spend as much time on public relations versus marketing. trying to keep these videos to a certain length. The definition of marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling products and services, including market research and advertising. So public relations can contribute to marketing and can be part of the marketing effort. I would have you look at these bulleted items on this page, but I'm going to leave it at that as far as this video lecture is concerned. So we will continue with this discussion of what is public relations next time, and I thank you for watching.